were a child and waiting for your birthday to arrive, the excitement was almost too much when the big day came. Well, Graham, Melissa and Charlie have been almost imploding with anticipation because the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show is back.
It has been 3 long, excruciating years, but finally landscapers and horticulturalists are gathering together for the Southern Hemisphere's largest flower show. And we've got all the highlights.
March 2020. And for the first time in 25 years, Carlton Gardens in the heart of Melbourne is silent. The Southern Hemisphere's biggest garden show cancelled. Tens of thousands of show visitors isolating in their homes. But not this year. Yep, Australia's best garden designers are returning in an explosion of colour and excitement. The Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show is back. And behind me, the excitement is quite palpable. It's just fantastic to see as these beautiful gardens all come to life. I reckon it's definitely all hands to the pump, including me. OK, so where do these go? Thanks, Jam. Brilliant.
This garden is called More Than Meets the Eye, and it's a collaboration between Warner's Nurseries and designer Robert Boyle. And doesn't it make the most of this spectacular view? This is actually 6 gardens in one. There's a pergola at the end to take in this magnificent view. There's an avenue of silver birch underplanted with the most magnificent display of Hydrangea Sunday Frise. To the front on the right, a Mediterranean garden where Warners are really showing off their plant stock with some incredible Teucrian balls. There's a parkland garden, a woodland garden, and a pretty specky veggie patch too. If I was hit by a bus and woke up to find this, I would be in absolute heaven. This garden is spectacular. It's got everything you could ever need. There's a small seating area, lovely rustic materials, fantastic shutters, but all the fruit and veg you could ever need. And they've been really clever with the use of space. We've got a bay tree hedge that overlaps, espaliered citrus, espaliered nashi pears. And take a look at this spectacular produce. This garden is spot on. Across the avenue is this lovely woodland garden, and you've got this canopy from these amazing ginkgo bilobas. This layout is really quite simple. There's a pathway with a pot, a simple water feature, and a lovely bench seat to relax. The clever thing, though, is the block planting. So that just gives repetition to these rectangular and square shapes, and that gives it a cohesiveness. Another thing I really like is this cute little windflower just sitting underneath the bench seat.
Balconies can often be quite challenging environments to garden in. You find yourself asking the question, how can I make the most of that small space and still create an inviting area that I want to be in? Well, the balcony gardens at this year's show are a new addition. And while the show gardens are just spectacular, you'll find plenty of ideas for small gardens right here. This garden shows you that you don't just have to have one plant in one pot. You can have a lot of fun jumbling together different flowers and foliage to create a potted combo like this, so that no matter what time of year you look out onto your balcony, there's colour and interest. Often in a small space, things have to be multi-purpose, so I'm loving the way this planter box triples as a garden bed, seat and storage space. On a balcony, don't forget to make use of any vertical space that you've got and put some decorative planters up filled with wonderful cascading plants like trailing succulents and chain of hearts. And remember that often balconies are really quite tough environments for plants to grow in. They might be subject to high winds, lots of sun. So take a leaf out of this garden's book and choose some really tough plants like Bismarckia. We've got some trailing Dichondra silverfalls here and beautiful agaves.
curator of this garden has had over a dozen amazing show gardens here at Mifkas. He's won medals here, and of course he's won medals overseas in New Zealand garden shows as well. Christian Jenkins. And this masterpiece is Inner Calm. So what's he got? Fantastic plants. Look at the typical plants, simple plants, gardenias, Loropetalum, the China pink, fabulous plant. And this beautiful lime, I love it, little dwarf Nandina, the Japanese bamboo. And then lots of other regular plants like Xanadu philodendron. So they're regular plants, but then he's got some Chinese palms, Mexican palms, and how about these two giant Dracaena Dracos, the dragon trees? Aren't they spectacular? They're really amazing. I just love this garden. It is over the top, but you know, it's just that creating that lovely exuberance that so many of us really love and long for in our gardens, just somewhere where you can get that inner peace. I think it's great.
When it comes to designing a garden, it's all about interpreting a client's brief. They may want a place to relax and be emotive in. They may just want a place to kick the football around with the kids. This garden is called Tramlines, and it has accessibility at its very core. It was designed in collaboration with all-round superstar and Australian of the Year, Dylan Alcott.
Hello, mate.
Dylan, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, so what was your involvement in the space?
Yeah, so we had a few design meetings. Obviously, I'm very passionate about accessibility and disability inclusion.
Yes.
And when you do accessibility from the start, from the ground up, it can be sexy, it can be cool. If you look around, you might not even notice some of the accessibility features. For example, see you got that little white thing there?
Yes, yeah.
That's for people who are low vision, so they don't hurt themselves in the corner.
Okay.
We've got little seats for people like me in wheelchairs to get in there. We had people with disability work on the garden as well.
Yeah.
And the coolest part about it, this thing is getting auctioned off. 100% of the proceeds going to the Dylan Alcott Foundation to help young Australians with disability achieve their dreams. Yeah. It's pretty cool to be involved in.
And one last question, the grass. Do you prefer playing on grass or...?
Mate, well, I never lost a match at Wimbledon, so I'll take that. But I'm a gardener now. I'm a gardener, so that's my new job, which is cool.
Yeah, as a tennis player, I make an excellent gardener as well.
Yeah, exactly. Good, mate. I appreciate it.
This is amazing, these collection of gardens here, Melissa. I'm really excited to see them here for this year.
Yes, the boutique gardens. So each garden is about 8 metres by 8 metres, which is perfect for the home gardener.
And there are a lot of different messages. Now, the one behind us is called Coming Soon. Now, you might think it's about maybe the bushfires or the floods, there's water, collapsing houses, and a lot of people around the country are experiencing that. But no, it's what has led to those disasters.
It is. It's all about climate change. You can see the houses sinking in the background here. Wildlife and plants are taking over.
Now, you might be wondering what the 2.6 billion square metres are.
So 2.6 billion square metres is the area of trees that will be deforested in the period of the show. So just in the 5 days of the show, that's how much we'll lose. That is a staggering figure.
But there is a bit of optimism. I'm going this way.
Yes, let's look at some more gardens.
I got to say, I am loving this garden. Alison Douglas was here a couple of years ago at Mifkas, and it's great to see her back. She is a great talent. In fact, she's created something here that is looking to the future. It's a Japanese garden called Elements. Now, all Japanese gardens for 400 or 500 years have had the same elements: fire, rocks, plants, and of course, water. The minimalistic colours are fantastic. Now, the elements of design, when you stand up on the top, you can see it's the triangles, the rectangles, the seating, and then, of course, this great expanse of black water. In the planting, there's correas, and of course, these beautiful tree ferns, lots of Aussie natives, except this big fella. It's a Nissa from America. It's the Tupelo. And it's a beautiful tree and great garden design. I think it's stunning.
I gotta tell you, that wasn't the best of me, 'cause I made you question what we're supposed to be.
This is called an intimate garden, and it certainly is. What I'm really loving about this garden is you could quite literally pick it up and transplant it to your own garden at home. It's just such an achievable, beautiful garden. I'm also loving the colour palette. So there's lots of green foliage and white flowers, which is a really calming combination. And that green contrasts beautifully with the black and the grey of the hard landscaping. There's also plenty of seats to sit back and enjoy this space. I'm also spotting a lot of my favourite plants in this garden. So I'm a big fan of the oak leaf hydrangea, which bursts into flower in the summer, and those lovely white flowers actually take on tints of pink and violet as summer turns to autumn time. I also love the crepe myrtles, and the white flowering crepe myrtle is just spectacular. Great bark, great flowers, just a great all-round tree. Not long ago, the Royal Exhibition Building was Victoria's biggest vaccination hub, but now it's been transformed into a sea of colour and movement as the Great Hall of Flowers. So you'll find amazing floral displays, workshops and a flower market. But one of my favourites is always the floral fashions. A highlight of the show is always the RMIT Floral Fashions, where students get a chance to showcase these amazing plant-based creations on a world scale. Now this year, the theme is Indigeneity, Sustainability and Diversity. And it's quite fascinating to see how each student has interpreted that theme differently to bring these designs to life. You can always rely on Collector's Corner to create something wild and wacky, and take a look at this. So this garden is inspired by the Tree of Life from Avatar. And so on one side you'll find a desert jungle filled with lots of unusual looking cacti and succulents. On the other side you'll find a jungle valley with lots of lush green foliage, shades of violet and cream, and these really big amethyst caves which form a real feature in the design. But when it comes to plants, I think this is one of my favourites. Have a look at this. This is the monkey tail cactus. It's just so unusual looking. To me it looks a little bit like Cousin It. The Great Hall of Flowers also provides a wonderful opportunity for florists to showcase their artistic skills. So just take a look at the detail in this picture. Each of those flower shapes is formed using individual blooms, seed heads or foliage. What a great way to let your hair down after lockdown.
One of my great interests is the Australian Garden Council. Our objectives there are to engage with high school students to get them to look at a long-term, lifelong career in gardening and ornamental horticulture. And I think I found a young fella. Excuse me, guys. Peter.
G'day, Graham.
How are you? I've got an amazing show garden I want to introduce you to.
Let's go have a look.
Well, what do you think? This is incredible, Pete. It's got everything going for it. This is Mark Browning's amazing garden. Now, Mark has actually had gold gardens here and gardens at Chelsea. He's an absolute star when it comes to creating beautiful gardens. Plants, construction, design, and a backstory about his mum. So everything is in this garden. What do you think, Pete?
It absolutely is. It's an awesome garden, great design. I love the magnolias and the Japanese maples. It just sets the garden off. It's absolutely beautiful.
So you think landscape design might be, or construction might be a way for you in the future?
Definitely. I've always had a fascination within the industry and garden design, so I can definitely see myself pursuing that in the future.
Now, you started gardening when you were 8 in your grandmother's garden.
That's correct. When I was around about 8 years old, it just kind of opened up my passion. Only a small garden, but it was enough for me to, get my hands dirty and, get to feel what it's really like to work in a garden.
So when did the gardening thing start to evolve at high school?
Yep, so I recently got the opportunity to start studying my Certificate 2 in horticulture with Holmesglen.
Oh, through the school?
Correct. So through high school, I was able to, develop my passion and actually start studying it for a qualification. So that's been really, really great, and it's absolutely opened up so many opportunities over the last few years.
Fantastic, Pete. Well, we've got more gardens to see, mate. Come on.
This garden is called Apertura, and it's been designed by former Best in Show winners Vivid Design, and the experience really shows. You can imagine this garden in any contemporary house across Australia. The standout feature of this garden and how it gets its name is this incredible espaliered olive. Now, this was supposed to be in the show 2 years ago, but the extra growth has just made it look even more spectacular. The hole cut in the centre gives you a lovely view through to the back of the garden, which adds depth and just shows off the fantastic zelkovas. But as autumn rolls on and they become redder and redder, this is only going to get better. Another thing I love is this paving. Now, this is classic Melbourne paving, combination of recycled bricks and bluestone. But it doesn't matter where you're gardening in Australia, this feature is going to look great. The planting is also spectacular. You've got a combination of uprights with the miscanthus and the breccianoria, but then rounded shrubs from the buxus, the raphiolepis, but I love the pops of purple in the agastache and the sedums. One of my favourite parts of the show is the emergent gardens. Now, this is where young and upcoming designers get to have a crack at show gardens. This year's theme is pollinators and pollinating, and they've come up with some cracking designs. This garden by Chin Lu has a sophistication of a designer with much more experience. I really love the vertical accents because they frame the view and change it as you walk through the garden. But there's one that has really caught my fancy. It's by Kate Johnson. Kate,
hello.
What a fantastic garden. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about what you've done here.
So I've created a children's garden.
Yep.
I wanted it to be fun, somewhere you can have an endless imagination. Basically, I've taken some inspiration from the TV show Bluey.
I know the episode. I know it well.
Yeah. They're at the playground, they're bored.
Yeah.
Somewhere like this, you know, you could play forever.
I think the best bit of play equipment you can give a kid is their imagination, and this garden is fantastic.
Yeah.
How have you found building a garden at Melbourne?
Great.
Come on, say it with a bit more.
So stressful.
Yeah.
So stressful,
That's more
but
like
so
it.
exciting.
Yeah.
Had adrenaline the whole time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll do it again.
Well,
Hopefully.
congratulations. Yeah, I'm sure you will do another one. It looks absolutely amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
We never asked for this, but it's my time and it's your time and it's our time to get it. Love's calling us in, and it's about time that it's our time and we're gonna be taking it.
Of all the gardens we've shown you in tonight's show, this is possibly, in some ways, the most important of them all. It's a garden created by the tree and shrub growers of Victoria. They're the people who supply all the trees and shrubs to your local garden centre, right throughout the country, in fact. And the garden is called Resilience.
I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up.
There have been a couple of words that we've used a lot in the press over the last 2 years. Pivoting, unprecedented. But you know, when you look back and look today and look into the future, it's resilience. And the resilience of the Australian community. What started out as bushfires on the east, bushfires in the west 2 years ago, have become floods and then, of course, the pandemic. Gardening at that time absolutely took off in March 2020, and it's just continued to grow with your participation and your resilience. And that's why they decided that this would be the name and the title for this beautiful garden. So I guess when you come to have a look at this garden, have a look at the flowers, the colour and the way that the plants have been arranged, and take away some ideas. Talk to the guys and the girls that are on this. It'll help you with your resilience and the country's resilience. As I say, I think it's one of the most important gardens that we could show you. It's a beautiful place to be.
Is a garden that celebrates neurodiversity, so it explores the sensory processing challenges often faced by people with autism in a garden that invites you to wander and take some time to relax.
I don't need the world. I just want you in mine tonight.
So you'll find plants that you can touch and feel, like the soft Australian woolly bush, alongside other plants that might have beautiful smells. So this is the helichrysum, and this one is called the licorice plant. But the leaves smell a little bit like aniseed. You'll also find splashes of colour in the form of plants like coleus, as well as edibles and other plants that appeal to the senses. Above and beyond the 5 senses, there are 2 other senses in autism therapy. So proprioception, which is about muscle memory and posture, and vestibular, which is about balance and judgment. And so this unique little play space explores those 2 senses with this cute little memory game, and kids can practice their balance by winding their way through the mandra. And best of all, at the end of the show, this whole play space is going to a special needs school.
I do all this just because I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything. I will walk through fire just to hear you sing. I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything for you just because.
We have seen all the gardens, but which one is the winner?
I know, it's always a big question here.
Drum roll, please.
Hey, ta-da! Look at this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Gold, gold, gold for Australia. Well done.
Incredible. And 15 years you've been creating gardens here at the Flower Show. How do you feel?
Feel it's euphoric. You know, it's just a beautiful morning, and I'm just really just taking it all in.
Do you have a favourite part of the garden?
The elephants set the tone to the entrance.
Yep.
And the trees, the dragon trees.
The dragon trees, how did you get those in here?
We craned them into the lagoon on Sunday.
Wow.
Fantastic plants. In fact, design, construction, plants, the water, the whole thing just comes together. Christian Jenkins, congratulations. Best in Show 2022.
Thank you very much.